Good evening, and welcome. And we begin tonight with a developing global story that's impacting pocketbooks worldwide: the relentless surge of inflation. Central banks are facing increasing pressure as they grapple with difficult decisions regarding interest rate hikes, attempting to cool down economies without triggering a recession. The situation is complex, and the stakes are incredibly high. This week, new data revealed that inflation in the Eurozone hit a record high of far exceeding expectations. Energy prices continue to be a major driver, but food costs are also skyrocketing. Similar trends are evident across the Atlantic. In the United States, the Consumer Price Index, while showing a slight dip from its peak, remains stubbornly elevated at. Across Asia, countries like South Korea and Thailand are also battling rising prices, impacting everything from consumer goods to industrial production. The origins of this global inflationary surge are multifaceted. It began with supply chain disruptions caused by the COVID-19 pandemic, leading to shortages of essential goods and raw materials. The situation was exacerbated by the war in Ukraine, which has disrupted energy markets and grain exports, putting immense pressure on food prices globally. Furthermore, massive fiscal stimulus packages implemented by governments worldwide to cushion the economic blow of the pandemic have also contributed to increased demand, further fueling inflation. We've seen unprecedented demand clashing with constrained supply, a perfect storm for rising prices. Central banks are now walking a tightrope. The primary tool to combat inflation is raising interest rates. Higher rates make borrowing more expensive, theoretically curbing demand and cooling down the economy. The U.S. Federal Reserve has already implemented a series of aggressive rate hikes, and the European Central Bank recently increased its rates for the first time in over a decade. The Bank of England has also been raising rates steadily. However, raising rates too aggressively risks triggering a recession, as businesses and consumers cut back on spending. This is the delicate balancing act central bankers are now forced to navigate. The implications are far-reaching. For consumers, it means paying more for everything from groceries to gasoline. For businesses, it means higher input costs and potentially lower profits. For governments, it means increased pressure to provide relief measures, while also managing national debt. Some economists are warning of a prolonged period of stagflation, a combination of high inflation and slow economic growth. Others believe that the worst is yet to come, especially if the war in Ukraine continues to disrupt global markets. The global response has been varied. Some governments are implementing targeted measures to alleviate the burden on vulnerable populations, such as energy subsidies and food assistance programs. Others are focusing on long-term solutions, such as investing in renewable energy and diversifying supply chains. The International Monetary Fund and the World Bank are closely monitoring the situation and providing guidance to member countries. The next few months will be critical as central banks make further decisions on interest rates and governments grapple with the economic and social consequences of rising prices. The world is watching closely. That's all for tonight. Thank you for joining us. We will continue to follow this developing story and bring you the latest updates as they unfold. Good night.